How you doing? This is Fat Alien B64 with a review of the Nintendo GameCube. This thing is actually pretty fun to play. I remember playing this back at my friend's house somewhere in 2003 when I was in first grade. We were both playing Mario Kart Double Dash, and I found it to be really fun. So I begged my parents to get a GameCube, and I got it on Christmas Day in 2003. And it also came with a bonus disc. I'll show you that in a moment. Anyway, let's get to some of its good features. First of all, it's rock solid. Don't believe me? My friend's TV dropped on this thing, and all it left was a scratch. That's it. One scratch. And it still worked fine. Although the door kind of had some problems, but it still worked. Speaking of the door, it's a top-loading disc, which means if you break this thing, it can be easily repaired. Here you have your open button, like I just demonstrated before, your power button, which is pretty easy to recognize, and your reset button, which not many consoles have. On the front, you have your controller ports. This was very cool because you didn't have to buy no stupid multi-tap just to play 4-player action on a PlayStation 2. But also you have your memory card slots, which was kind of taken by the PlayStation 1. And it says it was made by ATI, graphics by ATI. And I like how it has little rubber feet to keep it from getting scratched in the bottom. If we go to the side, we have your air vents, which is actually pretty blocky, probably representing the GameCube's design. And then in the back, you actually have your you have AV out. Since mine's a later model, it doesn't have that component. And you also have your part for your AC adapter. The GameCube didn't have an internal power supply, so you had to have that big box hanging out. One thing that's neat about the GameCube is its handle. This was unique for carrying your GameCube around. I mean, seriously, you've never seen another game console have this. Anyway, let's look at the bottom. In the bottom, you can see it has the number DOL101 USA, which is short for Dolphin 101, which was the GameCube's prototype name. And then you have your high-speed port for the modem, and your also serial ports, which is also used for the Game Boy player, which was pretty cool if you wanted to play Game Boy Advance games and other Game Boy games on your GameCube. Now let's take a look at the controller. The controller is actually pretty comfortable. It has this big A button, this small B button, and these two XY buttons, which is pretty easy to find. The C analog stick was mostly for camera movements, and you have your actual analog stick, which was very comfortable. But one small feature was the start and pause button, which was very small. And you also have your D-pad. And on the back, you have your L and R buttons / triggers. This was very inefficient because if you pull all the way down, they act like buttons, but if you just pull softly, they act like triggers. And you also have your purple Z button, which comes in handy, which is kind of your replacement for the select button sometimes. And this thing had a built-in rumble pack, which makes it actually pretty fun to play games. Speaking of games, let's have a look at them. As you can see, I have a lot of games. Yeah, I mean a lot. So much that I can't even fit on a stack. Let's take a look at them. First, we got Sonic Heroes, which is one of the first games I ever played for the GameCube, and it's actually really fun if you want to get it. Sonic Gems Collection, which is one of those games that have those bundle games like Sonic CD, Sonic the Fighters, and Sonic R. I actually got this because of Sonic R. I always wanted to see how it's like, and it's actually pretty fun. Sonic Adventure DX. Back then I was too young to own a Dreamcast, so when the time came, I actually got the DX version of Sonic Adventure, which is actually pretty fun, and the controllers are also pretty fine too. Same goes for the sequel, Sonic Adventure 2, which is reported for Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. And like I said, works fine. Shadow Garden's still there, and even has a bunch of extra features. Kirby Air Ride. Why isn't this one on top 10s? Seriously, why? This game is awesome. It's even one of the best sellers. And me and my friends like to play Destruction Derby. We just blow each other up on this game. It is very fun. Very, very fun. Smash Brothers Melee. One of the first fighting games I ever played, and actually one of the ones I like. It's also a bestseller, even though it was rated T for teens. If you're wondering, my favorite character is actually Ness. Yes, right. If you want to fight me, I'll be fighting with him, and you're going down hard. Mario Kart Double Dash. Get this game if you want a GameCube. It is fun. Very fun. If you like blowing your friends up with blue turtle shells and just ramming them over with an invincible star or better yet, a chain chomp, then get it! This is the game that actually came with my GameCube, Metroid Prime 2 with the actual bonus disc. Not only does it contain the demo, it also contained the trailer and a bunch of other chronicles and selections. Thousand Year Door. I'm a little pissed off, even though the game's alright, but I'm a little pissed off because of the case. People don't like to take care of the cases nowadays, so I had to get one without the case. Namco Museum. Same goes for this one, but at least they try to make the case original. It was made by Namco, and back then I was a huge Namco fan, and my dad was also a huge fan of Pac-Man. Finding Nemo. This game I got because I enjoyed the PlayStation 2 port at a local daycare. And I actually found it pretty fun, so I decided to get it for the GameCube. Then we have Mario Party 6. If anyone is shocked, this was actually the first Mario Party game I ever played, and I consider it very fun. My friend sometimes comes over here to bring Mario Party 7. We sometimes play Mario Party 6. It's pretty fun. And last, we have Mario Sunshine. The only Mario Party game I've ever seen on the GameCube, besides Mario 28, which was canceled. This game was pretty okay, but it let people down with the water. You had to clean up everything. But it's also fun collecting those shine sprites, which was a new design and pretty cool. As you can see, Mario's hovering with the flutter. Ups and downs. The GameCube had its share of ups and downs. One of the good things is the top loader had for controller ports, but one of the downside is it wasn't one of those games where you actually had a built-in DVD player. You can see by the games if you have one, the discs are pretty small and they can't fit on, and the big ones can't fit inside the GameCube. But other than that, it was actually a pretty cool system. If you want to get one, you can actually get one at a local thrift store or flea market, or heck, even a GameStop for about $30. Probably without the wires, but who cares? Anyway, if you want a GameCube, I suggest you get one, especially with Mario Kart. Please get that. Well, this is Fat Alien Beast 64 saying, thanks and have a wonderful time. And please buy a GameCube.